We've all been there, right? Staring out the window at a gray, drizzly day, maybe feeling a bit glum,
Uh-huh.
knowing those traditional solar panels are probably just, well, sitting there.
Doing pretty much nothing.
Exactly. But what if those very conditions could actually, boost your home's energy?
That's the intriguing part.
So today we're doing a deep dive into this really exciting leap in renewable energy, rain-powered solar panels. I mean, the core problem this tech addresses is that fundamental limit of traditional solar, isn't it? What happens when the sun isn't shining?
Right. And what's truly fascinating here is how they tackle that. They've essentially embedded these tiny static electricity generators, they call them TENS.
Tons?
Yeah, TENS, directly into the photovoltaic cells. Think of it like rubbing a balloon on your hair to create static.
Okay.
But instead of a balloon, it's a raindrop hitting the panel. And instead of your hair, it's the panel surface, constantly generating a little bit of power with, well, every single drop. It's quite an ingenious way to complement energy production, even when it's not sunny out.
That's incredible. So, if I'm understanding this, it means panels aren't just sitting idle on a cloudy, rainy day. They're actually still pulling some power.
That's the idea. It could be a real game changer for overall efficiency.
Okay, so what were some of the other, major advantages that jumped out at you when you looked into the research?
Well, I think the most compelling finding was the dual functionality. These panels don't just work in the rain.
Right.
They generate electricity in both sunny and rainy conditions.
Huh.
And what's more, potentially, they could even produce some energy at night if the rain keeps coming down.
Night. Seriously.
If it's raining, yes. So it fundamentally addresses that traditional downtime of solar panels during bad weather, significantly improving, the overall energy output.
And for our deep dive today, we specifically zoomed in on how this could maybe transform energy in Waterbury, Connecticut, based on the material you sent over.
Right, Waterbury. Good test case.
Let's get into the financials a bit, because the numbers, well, they tell a compelling story about the long-term gain, potentially.
Always about the bottom line, isn't it?
Huh? Usually. So a traditional 5-kilowatt solar system in Waterbury typically costs about $14,443 before incentives,
Okay, standard range.
which nets out to around $10,110 after that 30% federal tax credit we have now.
Got it.
Now, these rain-powered panels, given they've got this extra tech, they're estimated maybe around $18,000 up front, netting about $12,600. So yes, definitely a higher initial cost.
That's a key point, higher up front. But, and here's the kicker, when we crunch the numbers based on the sources, that higher cost could actually translate into more savings down the road.
Really? How?
Well, traditional systems might offer, say, $23,000 in savings over 20 years in a place like Waterbury. But the data suggests these rain-powered panels could exceed that.
By working more often.
Exactly. By maximizing energy output, especially tapping into Waterbury's, pre-frequent rainy days, it's about consistency, turning those off days for traditional solar into productive energy-generating ones.
And Waterbury's climate really seems to lean into this, doesn't it? The city gets moderate to high annual rainfall. Average wind speeds are manageable, peaking around 6.8 mile per hour in February. And crucially, Waterbury sometimes gets those residual effects from Atlantic hurricanes.
Right, heavy rain, strong winds.
Exactly. All conditions that could actually enhance the utility of these rain-powered panels. Snowfall? Okay, that can temporarily reduce efficiency, sure, but that can be mitigated. The rain potential seems huge.
This isn't just, theoretical brainstorming. The research points to a real-world case study, a prototype tested over at Suzhou University in China.
Oh, interesting. What did they find?
That system consistently generated electricity in both sunny and rainy conditions. And they even got some extra energy from nighttime rain. So even though there isn't a specific setup in Waterbury yet, the city's climate profile seems to align perfectly with where this technology shines. It really showcases the potential for places like it.
It feels like a fundamental shift. When you really put them side by side, the differences pop out, don't they?
Absolutely.
Traditional panels need direct sun, lower initial cost, minimal output on rainy days, zero nighttime function.
Pretty much.
Rain-powered, work in rain and low light, higher initial cost, but significant output on rainy days, and even that limited nighttime possibility if it's raining.
That sums it up well.
So what does this all mean for a place like Waterbury? It seems like rain-powered solar panels could really enhance renewable energy adoption by tackling those weather issues head-on.
I think so. The key takeaways from the sources seem clear. Waterbury's climate looks very suitable. Higher initial costs, yes, but potentially offset by much better energy efficiency and total output over time.
But still emerging tech.
Definitely. Real-world implementation is promising, but it's, still an emerging field. Enormous potential, though.
That's a crucial point, that balance between the incredible potential and the fact that it's still, well, emerging. This technology really does fundamentally redefine how we think about good or bad weather for generating energy.
It really does.
It makes you consider what other elements of our environment, things we often see as challenging, can maybe be reimagined as untapped resources for sustainable power. And, what creative combinations of tech could unlock them. Something to think about.